Hello, beautiful people. Just some quick hellos. Nothing written down, so I always apologize if I'm not always clear, but I will try to tell you when I want to switch gears. Okay. So I actually have a bunch of, or two funny stories from yesterday, but I'm not going to talk about them now. And I know I've been promising to talk about more funny, like comedic things, and then I don't. So I'm definitely going to put those on there. One of them is about my very first mammogram, which you're like, why would that even be funny? But it was, because it's not anything that I expected, but just my attitude towards it was making me laugh. And then the other thing is getting the phone call from the assistant director at my daughter's school charter program about something she looked up on the school computer, which she just did it because anyway, I'll tell you about it later. So then you'll tune into it and laugh. Okay, so my fortunes. I always keep these, and this is the one. Whether I take them at home and I'll put them in a place, or like my little altar area with my incense, or I'll put it in my wallet. This one says, "A refreshing change is in your future." It just fell out of my purse. Sometimes Panda Express has such great things. I don't love that place, but I do love. I do like some of the stuff there that actually has flavor. So I haven't interviewed. So I guess what I want to talk about today is, because I haven't interviewed guests in a really long time, and I am not done or whatever with my first responder type stuff, but it's things are on a pause. But basically, I'm learning about how turn off my battery. Uh, my involvement, the time and energy that I put into guests. So basically, to save us all, because we're all scheduling our time together, and I was just kind of getting annoyed with that whole scene. But also, I'm sending them, you, if you want to be a guest, like 3 or 4 questions. And then, especially if I don't know too much about them, or they don't have their bios or any of their stories online, I want to get to know, basically, to see if I had them on my show. So there's two people that I'm looking at, and they are two. Yeah, I think they're both British. Not sure. I think so. Um, that are living in Thailand. So Sompong, that's his Thai name, and then AuthenticRick. So I will drop them to you. So who found Buddhism, live in Thailand. I know they both have powerful messages. I'm just trying to dial it all in of what I actually want to talk about. And so I was thinking about, again, me being intrigued, almost being like a reporter. Everybody has a story, a unique story, right? And I've always viewed pain as information. But even sometimes I'm like, God, why am I so intrigued, with people's life stories? And I think it's just because when you hear what people either, come from, whether it was as adolescents or teenagers or whatever it is, um, I know that I'm drawn to certain people's stories, especially how they've overcome them or managed their way through them, and their low points and their personal rock bottoms, right? Because everybody has their own personal rock bottom. And I was just thinking again, okay, why am I all attracted? And it always sticks in my head, Rick George, retired firefighter from Florida, uh, said it well. I think he said something like to the effect of, if anything, I'm just making up the first part because I've heard this before, that life is pain, interrupted by moments of joy. And I think that really explains, right? Life is pain interrupted by moments of joy. That is why I have such a challenging time enjoying or learning what it's like to have fun on a very simplistic level, whether that means riding passenger in a boat and going fast, or getting on the Harley, or riding, on the four-wheeler, or these things that are so simple, like that make me laugh. watching these movies since I've always liked that dumb, stupid humor of those um, movies growing up and all the early 90s stuff. I've told you before, super bad, knocked up, all that stupid stuff. And so it's not like, but at that point, still, if I said this before, didn't really like know what it was like or consider myself a happy person since I came from such an intense negative state, which kind of like continues on, right? And from my experience, it wasn't actually from specifically everyday home life because that was pretty chill. It would only be when I would go to visit my mom, who I didn't get along with and I didn't like. And she was always just constantly doing things, not only just being a complainer, but very negative and naggy and definitely rejected me, right? Why don't you want to be pretty? Why you want to look like a boy? Blah, 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 blah. In my punk rock short hair days. So, long story short of it, I think I just wanted to come on here and basically say is that, you know, these very profound stories that sometimes have brought people. Oh, sorry. The call interrupted the recording there for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to end this really quickly to say, just to pop on here and say hello. And it's always a lovely day when the sun is out, and to tell you I'm going to record those two comedic things for you to look for. Um, is that now I'm getting sidetracked, basically coming from that negative state. Oh, these people with the rock bottoms. And all my stories, they don't have to like be so dramatic with the ending of a possible suicide or taking of their lives, but because I felt like those low points as a teenager and low sense of self-worth and all these questions, beyond feeling like alone, just wanting to run away and or die when you're just not feeling like, well, nobody cares anyway, or you have all these things going on in your mind. And that was from the age of 12, my dad calling me stupid all the time. So I think that's just that relatability there, and so that darkness of just wanting to understand not only how people get to that place, but how they get out of it, or how do they manage it, or how did they, besides drugs and alcohol, even if they found that, like, escape, like what happened afterwards, right? So that was already heavy there, people. Okay. So I will talk to you soon, and just appreciating every day as you get older, no matter doing therapy or not, or whatever you ended up doing, and finding your specific like act of service and finding ways to be fulfilled in life, because it is so like, I'm happy now. I'm not now. Now I'm happy, not happy, happy, not happy, like these emotional ups and downs. And it can be from external sources, right? You can be having a great life, and then you hear some, what we would call like not good news, right? It's not feel good news. So that's why I say just keep going, people. But when you find whatever your service is, and everybody has one, but not everybody finds it, just that will help you. Okay. And having a good attitude by finding the things that help uplift you and raise your vibration. And for me, it's music. That's number one. And then also giving love, making others feel happy makes me happy. Right. So sometimes it's not so deep, just making sure to surround yourself with positivity on any level, whatever, wherever, and whatever that comes from, just music's usually my number one go-to. And or sometimes it's just, again, talking to somebody or listening to a podcast or whatever it is. Okay. So that's one different ways I stay optimistic. But yes, I just continue to go. And as much as I learn and go and doing this positivity, yes, I still have the negativity that likes to come in. And I just have to have my methods for doing that. Cancel, delete, love. I try to think in those, keep myself in those states. Okay. That's how I maintain it. Tip for today. See you next time.